Hi, I'm Siddharth Deshmukh, and welcome you all to new episode of Sportsy. Let's talk sports. This is where we talk about fun aspects of sports and the informative aspects of sports, and we talk to a lot of people who are players or administrators or the companies who are doing a great job in sports industry. Today we have with us a great guy who has been part of Indian football for quite some time and have a great journey from AIFF to one of the most prestigious and most successful club that India has right now, Bengaluru FC. CEO of Bengaluru FC, Mandar Tamhane. Hi, Mandar. Uh,
Hi.
eh, Great to see you here, and yeah, it's really appreciate your time for talk with us on the platform Sportsy, where we just our funda is let's talk sports. It's more of a fun talk that we want to have, nothing formal about it. A Pune boy who followed football, and suddenly from there had a journey to go to work with AIFF, Indian team, and from there to BFC. Can we know that the story a bit from you?
Yeah. So thank you very much, Siddharth, for having me. I think this is a good platform if people want to, if you're getting the right people to talk about their experiences in various industry and sports. I think for the sports industry to go, or the aspirants or the parents who want their children to pursue sport other than playing, hearing from experiences from people who are in the industry, I think it's a right form of having a good type of education. I think my journey was more of a like I want to be a footballer kind of a thing, which is there for many of the kids when we are small. We want to be some sportsman or the other. So it started at a very local level to play football, and with various experiences playing for a couple of clubs. One was my school ex-students team from Pune, and the other was a club called Deccan 11, which is a little well-known club in Pune. And currently, I'm also the secretary of the club. So that was the journey where it started from on a playing front. School team, school team association team. It was more about trying to bring the players together, calling them, come to play matches, etc. Please come, arrange their kids. It was all of doing everything kind of a thing. In Deccan, it was all about playing and seeing how the others are managing the club, trying to learn from them. So these were the actual grassroots, or you can call it a very local level experiences, which helped me understand quite a few things in sport playing as well as administration is concerned. Uh, because of a certain injury to my hand while playing one of the matches, I had to discontinue playing, although the play thing about. So that because of my injury, I had enough time to be involved with sports other than playing. And our club decided that I should represent our club in the Pune District Football Association. And I think that was another educative thing for me. I'm still a part of it. I'm a treasurer of it. So around 17 to 18 years of being in the administration of a very local district body helped to understand what the lacunas are or what the shortcomings are at a very big grassroots level, where that the funds are not there. It's very limited resources to use to be able to try and contribute. So that was a very another good learning experience. And the most big learning experience I always feel that I've had through all of my working is the Abhijit Kadam organized since two. The friend Abhijit Kadam, who died in a car accident, and his younger brother, who's a current member in the cabinet of Maharashtra government. With him, we did this tournament for around 7 to 8 years, and that helped me reach out to a lot of clubs, a lot of district associations, a lot of state associations, a lot of media, and you understand how the professional, right from semi-professional local Pune team to a Pune FC or a Mumbai City FC, has been the journey of 8 years of this competition. So it was about operations on ground level, marking the ground, etc. So it helped you understand a lot of aspects of a tournament, a team, their coaches, what they prefer, the players, what they prefer. And I think these experiences is what I think has helped me a lot. What I in the work that I'm doing even today. And then obviously because of we did the tournament in Pune, the national team camp happened in Pune, because of which I got to be the manager of the Indian national team. And 3 years journey there, and then in 2013, Bengaluru FC and JSW happened. So I think that's just been about learning through my experiences in various ways. That I'm able to reach where I'm today.
I, uh, Mandar, I've heard, to be very honest, I have personally heard this story many times, and every time there's a different aspect that I get to hear here. And I think this is something that a footballer or somebody who's passionate about a particular football or any game, you're passionate about it. How do you grow grounds up? Don't look for only the top position somewhere. How do you work in the whole
Absolutely.
pyramid?
Absolutely.
From so I think that is something a big learning.
Yeah,
So
so that is I mean, that is a learning. That is definitely a learning, and you are able to relate. See, at the position that I am in today, it's all about decision making. And when you are taking decisions, you have to have the experience and you have to know the ground reality of that particular sport to be able to
correct.
take that decision where people then have to trust you in your decision making, and things have to happen. Things cannot happen also, it may go wrong, but that
Yeah.
is where these experiences help you to grow further. And I always believe that if someone wants to be in the sport industry, apart from obviously playing, you have to be passionate to be involved in the sports
Yes.
industry. You cannot be doing a 9 to 6 job because you did not get a job anywhere and then you are coming into sport. Then I don't think you'll be able to be more successful. It comes out of passion. You want to
Yeah.
work at 1 o'clock in the night, you want to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. This can happen only with passion, and you want to
Yeah.
excel in what you want to do. So I think that's how outlook towards working in sports should be also.
Very well said. It's like we are all here in the sports industry for passion. I quit my IT industry to be here in
Correct.
sports, and it's like
Correct.
it's just love for the game that you have. And for me, it is for you probably it's football. For me, it is every sport. I just enjoy sport. For me, it is like
Correct.
put me in
Correct.
any sport and I enjoy. So since you've been part of the whole Indian sporting journey for say almost 20, 22 years, 25 years now, uh,
Correct.
you
Correct.
have seen it grow from
Yes.
nowhere to where it is right now. And yes,
Correct.
people started. ISL was started as a tamasha and all those things, but it has come to a terms where it is now considered
Right.
to be a proper serious thing.
Right.
There were
Right. Right.
issues with I League and ISL, and I don't want to get into technical side of it
Yes.
and those issues, but I just want to know for a place like India, where can we finally see a good tiered structure in Indian football
Yeah.
where the good relegation can happen, the upgradation can happen, and we'll have a good pool of people that can sustain on Indian players rather than
Yeah.
the retiring players coming from outside.
Yeah. So as you rightly mentioned, right, the system is evolving. I mean, at the end of the day, when we started in the I League, there was no ISL. So for 1 year, there was only I League, and I League was going in a certain direction, which was always upward. But I would say the growth was not exponential. It was a gradual growth. But as we had the ISL, maybe in the first couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, uh, at least the first 2 years, I would say it was more about getting the eyeballs for people to be glued on to the sport, because it was about the awareness. And I think the league did its bit to ensure that that was possible, maybe at a bit at a cost of the sport per se, in terms of the
Mhm.
actual football happening on the pitch.
Right.
But now that the ISL has got that kind of eyeballs and that kind of money that is being spent in the sport, it was
Mhm.
eventually going to happen where the recognition as the number one league in the country was bound to happen. And that happens obviously from the recognition from the AFC,
Yeah.
and the team that wins gets to participate in the Asian club competition. So that now getting the chance to participate in the AFC Champions League now comes to the group stage winner of the Indian Super League,
Yeah.
justifies the fact that that league is now the number one league.
Hmm.
But having said that, I still feel that there is a lot more evolving that needs to be done, even in the Indian Super League and the I League, etc. As we go forward, as you rightly mentioned, that maybe in the starting of the ISL, you had a lot of yesteryear stars that were used to
Yeah.
probably get those necessary eyeballs. So maybe that marquee player or the marquee status that had was with their image rather than the actual football that they were playing on the
Correct.
pitch. And that has evolved. Now you see a lot of more foreigners who are actually performing on the pitch, or able to contribute to the game on the pitch, as a result of which the quality of the sport has improved, as a result of which you have got better coaches coming in, as a result of which the technical and tactical aspect of the sport is growing, as well as the Indian players who are playing are also getting to learn a lot from these guys. So the
Yes.
ecosystem per se, as you say, is definitely developing. And I think this further needs to develop. Now there is a talk currently as to reduce the number of foreigners
Foreign.
and get in
Yes.
line with the AFC, which obviously will help more Indians to play, thereby uh, developing them still more further, because there are more opportunities to then be a part of the playing 11 and get to play, etc. So all these things are going to evolve. It's about time that things are take that next step. But it cannot happen like we know that this is the ideal system. Let's whitewash everything and put this system in place. I don't think in the current scenario of things this was ever going to happen. It was
Right.
it was a progression that was going to happen. Yes, some people were going to get a bit offended or are going to get left behind, so to say. But I think that's the nature of the sport, and that's the nature of the sport in our country, where if we want to grow, we have to look at the, I would say, a lot more positive things that are likely to happen, and probably let go of a few negative things which probably shouldn't happen. But if we are going to achieve a lot of positive things in this, then these negative aspects can be probably overlooked a bit.
Right.
And the natural progression to this is probably a proper relegation promotion system, where we are talking about a relegation from an ISL to the I League, maybe the I League from the second division I League, or the
Mm-hmm.
second division I League to maybe further state leagues, district leagues, etc. And this further will have a nice filtration of players
Right.
to come up and move forward. But this is at the pinnacle, this is at the top. What the focus now also should be to make such a robust system at a youth level also, which
Yes.
maybe starts from the under 7, the under 9s, the under 11s, 13s, 15s, 18s, etc. So this is something which probably we also, all clubs as well as the associations from various district states, as well as the AIFF, have to work in tandem, because that is the future. And if we want to think about, see, it's about, I don't think it's about thinking when can India play the World Cup, but it is about thinking how India can be amongst the top 5 or the top 7 in Asia. That should be our immediate goal. And then you can follow the
Correct.
World Cup, maybe think about playing in the World Cup, etc. Just playing in the World Cup, we want to, obviously, but that's not going to lead us anywhere. That's still very far off. So it's a step
Yes.
at a time. And I think from, if I look at myself with the past 20 years, when I started playing football, administrating football, to now where we are, I think it's a massive growth. It's a massive growth in terms of everything, the economic side of it, the playing side of it, the influence of proper professionals in it, apart from playing and coaching, which could be your, the
Right.
various administrators roles, whether it's the commercial directors or whether it's sponsorship sales teams, the media team, etc. So there is a lot more awareness to groom this sport apart from what is on the field, and a lot of importance is now given off the pitch involvement of that sport, or individuals, their
Mm.
involvement in off the pitch things of that sport. So I think there's enough growth, but yes, there's a lot more that we have to still further do. And I think everyone's contribution and a lot of such good professionals coming into the system will help us grow the sport further.
Right. So when we speak about Indian football, we always talk about TFA. Like Tata's have
Yeah,
done a great job, and
yeah,
then there are
very good
other
job. Yeah,
business. Yeah, then the business houses started coming in. We saw the Ambanis coming in, or the Goenkas coming in, and all those things. So was
yeah,
Parth instrumental in getting
yeah.
the JSW into sports?
Yeah, I mean, it was something which both Parth as well as Mr. Jindal were very keen that as a corporate they would like to contribute to the development of sport in the country. And it started off with the fact that when Olympics happen, why is it that India is not amongst the top 10 or the top 7 of medal tallies, the country that
Yeah.
is winning the maximum medal tally? So it started off with that, and our sports excellence program, where we are supporting athletes who are currently representing our country at the highest
Yes.
level, whether it's the Olympics or the Asian Games. So we started off with that in 2013, rather I would say 2012, around the second half of
I
2012
think after
is,
London Olympics, right? Just after London
yes,
Olympics.
after London Olympics, I think around the October, November of 2012 is when JSW got involved with the sporting side of it, with this sports excellence program. And obviously, then after that, we had in 2013 the football club that we started with Bengaluru Football Club. And subsequently, we had the kabaddi team in the PKL, the Haryana Steelers.
Yes.
Then came the Inspire Institute of Sports, where we have this high performance center in
Yes.
Bellary, in Karnataka, where we have adopted 5 Olympic sports, which is boxing, wrestling, judo. These 3 are the combat sports,
Hmm.
and athletics and swimming, which make up the 5 Olympic sports, where we are scouting for boys and girls in the age group of as young as 10 to 18, 20, where we are trying to develop these athletes, uh, be good in their disciplines, so that in future they go on to represent India in the Asian Games, the Commonwealth Games, the Olympics, and India can win medals. So that was our very big investment in sports as far as the
Mhm.
JSW is concerned. And then obviously was our involvement as a co-owner in the
IPL.
Delhi Capitals franchisee with the IPL. So this is currently our five sport JWs, and only when you have the passionate who want to contribute to the
Right.
development of Indian sport in every such vertical. And football happened naturally because both Mr. Jindal and Parth enjoy football a lot. They are
Mhm.
big Arsenal fans. They
Oh, okay.
follow Arsenal a lot. So it was natural for them that they got involved with football, and because of a certain relationship that Mr. Jindal had with our president of All India Football Federation. He was also the vice chairman of the I League in those days, even before Bengaluru FC was.
Okay.
And he just did not want to just be a kind of a chairperson who's trying to just be there for the sake of it. So he felt that he could contribute a lot more to football just than being a vice chairman. Why not just own a football team? And when AIFF decided to call for corporate teams to come and give their interest to be
Mhm.
associated with the I League, that's when we got involved. And I think he took the decision to be a part of Bengaluru, a part of the I League in the form of Bengaluru FC. So I think it has to be coming from the from as a passion that
Yeah.
your owners have to be able to contribute to the development of any sport in our country.
Yeah, and I think more than the passion is there, then there's the intent. Intent is very important to
Right.
sustain it, because this has a long gestation period. Like
Absolutely.
I, IPL investment may be recovered in couple of years. The
Yes.
other investments
Yes.
may not be. It's going to be a
Yes.
longer
It's
thing.
more about, yeah, it's as you rightly said, right? These are not commercial models where you are trying to make a like a industry or a business around that sport, apart from maybe an IPL to some extent over a longer period. And
Yeah.
definitely that is the case in the case of the IPL. There's no doubt about putting in the money and ensuring that the sport grows, and maybe
Yes.
after maybe not even 10 years, maybe 15 years or 20 years, there is something which we can have a system that not only you have grown the sport in the country, but there is something to gain out of it in terms of the business model also is concerned. So at the end of the day, it's something that you want to invest in for the development per se as the priority, and with the hope that this can further help you grow your profile in in that particular sport, and also make it a, I wouldn't say a profitable thing, but a less loss making thing would be a
Yeah.
right
Less of
way of
speaking. Yeah.
loss making thing to ensure that we can go in that direction. So that's
Yeah.
where it comes from, and I think credit to them for having that kind of a vision,
Yeah.
and wanting to contribute for sports per se, which is very very difficult when you're busy with your day to day corporate life, where you're thinking about your steel, your energy, your cement, and so much
Yeah.
other things, but you want to give back something to a subject that you love, which is sport. I think it's very very great on their part to be on their
Yeah.
contribution.
And from that, the humble background of the owners, or
Right.
the corporate houses, you have one of the most humblest person, if that is a word, as your
Right.
captain.
Yeah,
uh,
I mean,
so it's
that
like
is, yeah.
when everybody's talking about the foreign players and impact of foreign players and what it is, it's like how what it means to be like, yes, we grew up, we saw Vijay, and then we saw Bhaichung Bhutia, but Sunil Chhetri made a difference, with all respect to everybody in past. But this is where he got to be part of it. Like he kind of became a MS Dhoni kind of thing, where he grew with the sport. They
Yeah.
were greats before that. So how does it, how do you deal with that kind of thing, and why do other players in the team get intimidated by somebody like Sunil and his presence?
No, I mean, Sunil is one of the greats that has given to our sport. As you mentioned, a few names, even older guys who have been a very, very rich history, because of which the sport has grown to where it is in our country. So Sunil is one of such greats, and the current, obviously, the face of Indian football. So yeah, I mean, his contribution not only to Indian football per se, the national team, but in the various clubs he has played, and definitely now for the past 7 years at Bengaluru FC, I think his contribution has been immense. uh, yes, there is a bit of a respect to him, because he says things or he does things, or he says things or he instructs people only basis what he himself does. It's never that Sunil Chhetri is not doing something and is trying to instruct somebody to do something. So it is whatever he does is what he expects everybody to do. So that kind of kind of an attitude or a mentality, he's got an absolute winning mentality in everything he does. Just be football, whether it's Ludo or whether it is table tennis or whether it's carom, he wants to win. He just can't lose. That's the bottom line. He would, if he's winning easily, he would then start playing left hand PT and still beat you. So that's the kind of winning mentality is infectious to everybody that is good. So I think that is something which he contributes a lot. And I think a lot should be given credit to his parents and his core team that is around him for the way he conducts himself. As you mentioned, humble. His feet are right on the grounded to the ground. And he never, I mean, I've never seen him so far in my 10 or 12 years that I've been associated with him, that he is doing something which makes him feel, one would feel that, boss, he's doing what, like he's like a celebrity and look at him how he's behaving. It's never like that. It's something which you get to learn a lot from him. And at the same time, he himself learns a lot from others. So this kind of attitude and this kind of approach is very good. And obviously the thing is that the younger players want to be like him, so they are a bit scared when some like I can give you a very simple story that at BFC when we started in 2013, there were a couple of guys who were small kids under 15 or just 14 years old who were coming into our academy, and a couple of these boys are now part of the first team with Sunil. So for them, or for even Sunil, to see those kids coming with a small bag to the academy and now playing along with him in a match in an ISL or in an AFC Cup game, I think that is something which even Sunil feels proud, or even the kids look up to him and feel that this is a great opportunity that they have. So it's a give and take kind of a relationship where each one is learning from each other, and that is only possible because how Sunil makes people close to him or makes them understand and ensure that they learn from his experiences. So I think it's a lot of credit that should go to him. And it's very rare that you get such individuals who are successful at such a higher stage and are still humble and grounded in their life.
Yeah, I think it's a great lesson for the kids who are probably running after the quick fame or the players. I don't blame them because that's what they get to see. But I think something like this is really good where parents can put. It's all about the upbringing. It's about what kind of environment or what kind of culture you are giving around.
Correct. So, because just to make a point to what you're saying is very important, because Sunil Chhetri is what Sunil Chhetri or started being what Sunil Chhetri is maybe from an age of 31 to maybe 34 in terms of the earnings, the endorsements, the face that he is, the image that he has created. But prior to that has been a 15, 18 years of hard work when he was right from a young age. He was playing, in Delhi and then in Mohun Bagan, and then his slowly journey started. So it's about, if he would have thought, I want to be the next I am Vision, I want to be the next Bhutia, and I want it now at that age, he may not have reached this. You have to build it, you have to cultivate it. And there's patience, hard work, and sometimes you have to take certain decisions which might be very rosy at that point of time. But whether that rosy decision, rosy situation, should I go with it and cut short a little bit slowly, and then reach at a level? That's the decision making which current kids who are trying to make big as a career as players are finding it tough to make, because now with the ISL, with the glamour, with the money, there are so many things. That's one small decision that you take, maybe a beneficial for maybe the 1 or 2 years, but what about things after that? So that is something where a lot of kids currently are getting lost, and this realization or this understanding is very important, that you've got age on your side. Today you can see Sunil Chhetri with the right kind of effort, the right kind of hard work, the right kind of diet, the right kind of rest. He's able to play and give his best at the age of 34, 35. And if you are at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, there is still so much time for you to further grow. So having that patience and being right in the decision making is very important in the current scheme of things. And as you go forward, it is going to be more important, I feel.
So I think very well said. There was a loud and clear message for a lot of parents and aspirants in this. And if not Sunil, I think you are the best person to give this message from Sunil, because you have spent so much time with him.
I still, because even I seen it when we were playing. We used to wonder that we should know when we would get an opportunity to go on a trial with the Salgaonkar or a Dempo. We didn't even know this information, but we want to go, but we never got this opportunity. But that doesn't mean that if you don't get this opportunity, you cannot make it big. You slowly grow your profile as a player, as an administrator, or whatever you do. to reach. Today, I'm in a position where we have to take trials for Bengaluru FC, one of the leading clubs in the country. But at one point of time, I was in a position where I was trying to go to the clubs for trials as a player. So I feel it's a journey which you have to be patient. You'll get your
Yes.
opportunities, and at the end of the day, in case of playing, if you are good, the clubs will come running to you. You don't have to
Correct.
go running or please select me, please take me. You just have to play wherever it is, whether it's a school level or a college level or a club level at a very local district level or a state level. You just have to perform and always believe that when you are playing, that there is somebody who's watching you who may feel that you're good enough to take that next step and then that next step and that next
Yeah.
step. So it's up to you. So you have to be very focused and keep on working hard. You will get your opportunities if you're good.
So okay, so now changing the hat from which you recently like from technical head to the CEO. What is been a typical day of a CEO and the toughest thing that he has to do that in last like you have done in last 2 3 years?
So I mean, it's a for me. I don't see any change because my association in the sports industry has never been because of a job where I have to do a job and then grow. I've done my mechanical engineering and I've got my family businesses which I was involved with before even all these things happened. So I got involved into football because of my passion. So from the day one of say the March of 2013 to the May of 2021 that we are in 2020 that we are in today, my Bangalore FC journey has been the same right from day one to now. Whether I was the team consultant to chief technical officer to CEO, I think I don't see myself doing anything different from what I was doing from day one or even day minus 30 because the club was formed in June, but we started working in March of 2013. So
Mhm.
I don't see that difference. I just feel the responsibilities are more in terms of uh, trying to do something different, and trying to improve on what we are doing. Not just how the team performs on the pitch, but mainly as a club how we grow. And I think that is only added, but that has kept on being added right since 2013, 2014 to now 2020. So
Mhm.
I think I personally really don't see any difference for me whether it's a CEO or a CTO because that's just a designation. My work still remains the same. I remember that I used to when we started off in our Bangalore office in 2013. We were just 4 5 of us in the beginning. Out of that, at least I think three of us or four of us are still now even
Oh
after
wow.
7 years. We used to even sweep the floor. I mean, we used to just sweep the floor, arrange the chairs. Even if I go to Bangalore right now, if there is something I even do that. So it's nothing different for us. It's like our own baby that we are nurturing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
for me it's all about like a family thing, and I really don't feel that as a job, and I don't see me doing anything different other than more responsibilities which I enjoy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
only the difference for me right now.
Okay. So what has been the toughest thing for you? Just that thing that you can have in last 3 years, 5 years, or whatever.
I mean, there have been many such tough things. It's all about taking the right decisions, and some of them have been successful, some have not been successful. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, maybe I would say more than. I mean, also by saying tough, I think what I enjoyed much more doing was to maybe a Gurpreet Singh Sandhu signing when we got him from Stebek. It was something a
Hmm.
very challenging transfer that we had to do with the timeline in place because of the window closing, and it was more satisfying to do that because we visioned it, we tried for it, and we were able to achieve it. So that is something which I felt was good. Obviously, winning the I League, the ISL, all these things are part and parcel of sports. You're going to win sometimes, you're going to lose sometimes. So I don't consider that as something which should be like that was my proud moment
Hmm.
kind of a situation, because it's the process that you should enjoy, because if you enjoy the process the results are likely to come, is what I believe in.
Yeah.
And I think I've enjoyed in each and every process of that. I mean, there are many such things. Representing AFC India in the AFC Cup final as being only the still now only being the only club to be able to do so was a proud
Hmm.
moment, that we were able to represent India and reach at a level where no other club in the history of Indian football has reached. So these feel good things to achieve, but the effort of everyone involved in that kind of a process is something which was difficult also, and something which we all enjoyed in each and every moment of that. So I think challenges will always be there. Challenges are always going to be there in sport. how to administer it, how to, like for example, in the second year of our when we were playing the I League, first year we won, and in the second year we lost to Mohun Bagan in the last match, and it was last match, I would say the last 5 minutes we were drawing the game, rather we were winning the game, and if we would have won, we would have won the second year the league in a row, but they equalized in the 86th minute, and we came second and Mohun Bagan came first. So that was
Oh,
tough
wow.
to digest, but it was all these learnings. I feel we get to learn from a lot from our failures rather than
Yes.
our things that we are winning, or from the successful side. Things that we are not successful, things where we fail, is where we learn a lot. And I think that has been a good learning experience for all of us at the club, and we are still learning. So these are, I would
Yeah.
say, challenges are always there, but these are some things which we are proud of, or which we
There's a timeline for you.
want to learn more from. Or yeah, I mean, it's an enjoyable thing. It's an enjoyable. If you enjoy the process, I think it's something which you will find the challenge is also enjoyable. Is
Yeah.
how I would have
Okay.
to.
So I want to kind of put you in a spot. What is the tougher thing to do, managing a professional players or being a parent of 100 kids at the Bellary Center?
Oh, it's a good question. I think that's a good question. I think I think now it's much easier dealing with the professional players, because I think they are now much educated on how they want to also conduct themselves, or how you want to, negotiate a contract or sign the players, etc. I think that's become much of a easier process, or much of a easier, instead of saying easier, it's much understanding from both sides of the point, whether it's us as a club or the players themselves. So I think that is much easier. But investing your time and energy and focusing on the development of the academy kids, I think it
Hmm.
is much more challenging and much more, I think, satisfying when you see
Yeah.
these challenges are being successful, because that's the future. You want the academy kids, you want somebody from your academy to not only go on to play your first team, but also to go on to represent the Indian national team. And once that process we are seeing, even as we are entering into the 2020-21 season, this year we are going to have almost 6 to 7 players who have come, so to say, whether it's the under 15, even our reserve, now graduate to the first team. So this process of seeing that growth or seeing that thing happen is satisfying. And to ensure, when these kids are now coming at a very young age of even 10 years
Yeah.
and 11 years, to be able to take care of them from that age group is much more challenging,
Yeah.
is much more, I think, a lot more, because the parents are trusting you when they're sending their kids. And it's not about just grooming them as footballers, but it is about grooming them as individuals, as
Yes.
ensuring that you give them the education part also, which is equally important, not just playing. So this whole I think package is, I think, more challenging, and I think that's, I would say, a little bit more tougher than dealing with these professional players.
Yeah, and see, this question came from me as a parent whose son is with
I understand.
Reliance Academy. Doesn't stay with us. He's at
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
going at the age of 12, and we
yeah,
don't know. We have no control
yeah.
over nothing right now. So then you become the parents, right? The academy, like Reliance
Absolutely.
and Bangalore, are the
Yeah,
topmost academies that we have
exactly.
in India. Then you become the
Yeah,
parents.
and it's very correct. It's very correct, especially in these challenging times when we have kids who are from, corners of our country,
Yeah.
at an age of 10, 11, 12, and they are still at the academy right now because of the travel restrictions. They are not able to reach home, and at that moment of time, how you need to ensure that you keep them engaged in terms of their mental training also. So
Yes.
we have got a club psychologist who's continuously dealing with them, giving them tasks, and our coaches are ensuring that these kids are, like doing some basic things, like even watering the plants or cleaning the cafeteria. So you keep them engaged, you keep them, as you mentioned, it's like us being parents for them at such challenging times. So I think it's more tougher to do this, and you want these kids to succeed. When you see them
Yes.
grow from that age, you feel that they are part of us and we are part of them, and we feel that we have to contribute so that even they become successful in their career. So I think it's a great feeling, and I think it's a challenging feeling. And when this challenging feeling is somewhere reaching the right path, you get more, the satisfaction is much higher, I feel.
Right. So we spoke about the club level. We spoke about the grassroots, the Bellary Center that you have. It's a phenomenal center. It's like
Yeah.
it's a 4-star academy now, right?
Yeah, it's a
As per,
four-star
yeah,
academy. Reliance is only the five-star academy in the
yeah,
country right now, and we are the four-star academy along with a couple of other academies,
yeah.
which
So
includes TFA, and I think it's Baichung Bhutia Soccer School, if I'm not wrong.
okay. So I'm the kind of the student that we have. Like one of my guys from the club that I have, small club here. He's in the Bellary at the age of 10. So we get to hear so many great things. It shows the whole
Yeah,
culture, how the culture is flowing. So
yeah,
now when you see this is the future, how are you
yeah.
how are the brands looking at Indian football? One is the current situation, one is the coming future. So like you have association with say Kia. JSW
Right.
is being a partner and associate in the whole journey as well. How do you see the brands looking at Indian football?
Yeah, so I think it's a very good question because I feel people were talking about BFC in the 6 years, won six trophies, success, etc., which is fair because you've got the trophies that speak about it. But I would like to rate the success of BFC when brands after 6 years, like you mentioned, Kia, Kingfisher, Nissan, which are Epson we had in between, which are all multinational brands, and these brands want to associate with a club like Bengaluru FC. I think that is where our hard work of the past 6 years is showing the result, kind of, because today when Kia is launching a car in India and they want to use Indian football as a platform to be associated with it, and in that a club like Bengaluru FC, I think it's a proud moment for us when we have such brands associated with us, and that only underlines the fact that we as a club have been probably doing right things at every aspect of the club, not just the first team,
Yeah,
but whether it's the fan engagement, whether it's the media and the social media, the way we handle that, or whether it's the kind of fan support that we have cultivated, and fans play a massive role in our club's
massive,
history so
exactly.
far, and I'm pretty sure going forward they are going to be much more contributors to the club for this club to grow. So I think this all the whole system that we have at the club, I think, is something which the brands look at when they are probably wanting to be associated with the club, and definitely a fact that which whatever said and done, which can't be neglected, is the fact that you have got a few faces of Indian football associated with Bengaluru
Yeah,
FC, in Sunil Chhetri or a Gurpreet Singh Sandhu or a Udanta, which
Udanta.
makes things. It's just the fact that the last couple of games that India played, obviously we lost those games against Qatar and against Oman. But the starting 11 players, six of them of the starting 11 were part of BFC. I mean,
Wow.
they were a BFC
Wow.
from the BFC club. So that is a proud moment for us. That is something which we feel is we have achieved.
Yes.
That six playing in the starting 11 probably is more important than us winning six trophies in the 6 years, previous
Got it.
6 years that we played. So this kind of things make the club grow in terms of the brands also are concerned, and it's a growing market today. The model of the ISL also is based on a sponsorship, as you are aware. It's more a sponsorship based model. So when such brands are we are able to attract, I think uh, the sport is growing, not
Hmm.
just Bengaluru FC, but the sport is growing. The other clubs are also having such kind of brands associated with them. So we can just say that that can only happen when the sport is growing in the country. And if you ask me 6 years, 7 years, 8 years back, did we have such kind of brands associated with the sports? We did not have. So
Yeah.
that's also an indicator to the fact that our sport of football is growing in our country.
Excellent, excellent, Mandar. So I have one last question, which
Yeah,
is
please.
again, and that's it's not a question per se. It is more about a practitioner of Indian football,
Yeah,
who wants to who also has kids from the age of 10 to older and a professional second division team. All those things. What is your
yes,
message to the parents and
yeah.
the players, typically age group of 14, 15, 16, who wants to are inching to go there? So what is the message or the thing that you want to tell them? And currently, considering current testing time where we don't know the future in next 6 months, and
Yeah,
some player might lose the one whole year of their playing career, which is going to be very crucial.
yeah,
So
I
what
think
is
that,
that you want to say?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, we will address the COVID situation in a later stage, but uh, that's because the COVID situation is, according to me, temporary. It
Yes.
is going to have its negative effects, so to say, but in a larger scheme of things, they will be turned around and things will be again back on track, is what I feel. So coming back to a question to the parents and the kids, I think it's parents front that they encourage kids to take up the sport. There is no doubt in my mind that that should not be a hindrance for any parents ki yaar nahi, you study. At the same time, a kid who's pursuing a certain sport, cannot blindly pursue it at the cost of not doing his education. That cannot happen.
Yes.
The education plays a very important role even in an athlete who's going to be successful to the highest level and representing his or her country going forward. Because any sport you look at is about decision making. Today you look at a tennis sport. Today you have to hit a forehand or a backhand, or you want to convert a backhand into a forehand, or whatever, or you want to just give a drop shot or take a smash, whatever. These all things are about decision making. Likewise in football, when you receive a ball, what do you want to do? Whether you want to run with the ball or pass it to your co-player, or dribble past 5-6 people, etc. So it's all about decision making. And although 70% of this decision making comes from your coaching or your education that they give in your sport as coaches, in the tactical or a technical aspect is what is going to be important. But remaining 30% is going to be on your education. It's education who makes you think in a certain way, or education makes you. I'm an engineer. I have nothing to do with sports per se in terms of education in sports management, etc. But my education, what I did is actually helping me in the decision making that I take. It
Yes,
makes my
thinking.
mind think in a certain decision. So I think education plays a very crucial role. So parents have to encourage kids to pursue their sports, and kids have to ensure that they pursue their sports not at the cost of education. It has to go hand in hand. If you feel that you're inching towards something special in your sport or to the next level, uh, a little bit of compromise on the education will have to be done, because you cannot
Hmm.
then do both the things. It is not
Yes.
possible. So a time will come at every stage in your career, at every age group, or at say a junior or a sub junior or a senior level, where a moment will come where you have to gauge yourself where you're heading as an athlete, whether you're at the same average level and you're enjoying playing at the local district like how I was playing. So fine, I just ensure that I'm just doing that, and then doing that for enjoyment or my recreation, and not pursue something professionally. And then I focus on education more, and this as a passion or as a sport which I just want to recreate myself to and be involved with. And second thing is, if you feel that you don't, a parent should also know that if a kid feels that, or if they themselves feel that their child cannot pursue a career as a sportsman in his particular sport, that's the end of the road. That's not the case. You have enough and more opportunities now, even more than the past, where you can have a career in sports beyond playing. And
Hmm.
that career in sports is huge, is massive.
Yes.
And I mean so, because today when we are running a football club or a kabaddi team or a cricket team or all these Olympic sports, we need specific people in that particular field of sport. Today, when I am trying to do contracts of players or of athletes, etc., we need legal help. I need lawyers who are specific in sports law. And that's very rare to find. Where there are,
Yes.
you get a lot of lawyers, but you don't get lawyers who are sports specific. Today,
Yes.
when we need physios, you get a lot of physios who are treating patients who are just done from some surgery, etc. But you don't have a sports specific physio. So the importance of having a doctor who can see, today my athletes are my assets, and if they
Yes.
get injured, I should have a system to ensure that they come back into playing and are on the pitch to contribute for what the club has taken them. So if I don't have a robust medical and a rehab system, which can happen with the right doctors who are educated in that sports field, I'm what am I doing? I'm not taking care of my own assets. So today, media, you need right professionals to be able to be in this media, sports media. Today, earlier, I give this example that earlier there was a thought that a media manager should be a guy who, or a person who can take the media people from various publications out on a drink or for some dinner in the
Yes.
night, so that you will get a news next day in the morning. I mean, that time has gone. You need media people who can express themselves, who can write
Yes.
good content, who can deliver, create some good content. So you need such professionals. Today, a lot of designing is involved in a lot of media work, where you are so much active on all the various social media platforms. So creating this kind of content or designing aspect of this content is important. So you need designers. So all these aspects are so important, varied aspects, which we all do, which we all know. People are studying abroad or trying to get themselves educated so that they can get jobs. But if somebody who's so passionate about the sport wanted to play at the highest level but could not make it, I mean, there is enough and more opportunity that he can pursue that education in that particular field and come back to that sport to contribute more. So I think this is a very big industry which is going to go forward growing in terms,
Exactly.
I'm talking about the sports industry obviously, and it is going to further grow. So I think there is enough and more opportunities, and I think parents should encourage the kids who are keen to be in a sports industry, if not as players, then as administrators or professionals which are working in
Yes.
this industry.
It was a fun chat, Mandar, to be very honest, and I wanted to keep it towards understanding the whole cycle of how the player to administrator journey, or a corporate house getting involved with the sports. How do you look at the grassroots side? So I think this is you've been playing a role which is across the sports industry, and creating employment at the same time, creating opportunities and a lot of things together. So I think it was a very fruitful thought, covering all the aspects that I was looking for. Beyond this, it will be I'll be just I'll be asking questions because I can't stop asking questions. So but I think we 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 exactly got we were looking for, and really appreciate your time for this,
Thank you.
and wish you all the best, and stay safe, and
Thank you so
now
much. Thank you
see
so
you
much.
in person
Thanks a lot.
soon now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Bye.
Yes.